Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Business Morning. It's the first business and trading day in the month of November. It's a Wednesday. I am Bosun Omofaye. Let's get the show started. We have a raft of positive news around Nigeria. We're going to talk about some of this on the program, but let's get started. We just came in this morning. FBN Quest Independent Purchasing Managers readings for the month of October, a very significant jump to 64.8 reading. That's what we got in early this morning. 50, of course, is the neutral. Any figure above 50 shows you're positive. This morning, we got what FBN Quest calls significant index reading from 58.1 to 64.8 in the month we finished yesterday. Quote, this is the second highest reading in Nigeria's manufacturing index since the launch of their PMI in April 2013. And why? This was attributed to healthy boosting consumer confidence as well as the seasonal effect of the forthcoming festivities November, December, and January. And of course, additionally, they mentioned the central bank's multiple currency practices, although unpopular in some quarters, have boosted FX liquidity and therefore the import-hungry manufacturing sector. Nigeria are posting a positive, much stronger PMI, Purchasing Managers Index that tracks manufacturing activities, what you call the PPI, the factory gate, everything that industries and manufacturers would want. All 5 sub-indices measured by FBN Quest are in positive territory. The highest reading was for output and the lowest for workforce in terms of new hirings. This is one good news. And of course, we are stepping into November. The first cabinet meeting will take place today. And of course, there will be, and we expect some quote-unquote celebration for the stronger global doing business ranking of the World Bank that came out yesterday. That's number one. The Buhari's cabinet would also today discuss the clearance from the African Development Bank that the $400 million loan is still being discussed, and Nigeria is not suspended yet from loans by the EFDB. That's good news, number two. And number three, oil prices around $61, $70 a barrel this morning. Oil prices barreling forward. One of the highest levels we've seen in 2017. So there's quite a lot of good news here on that. Of course, then tomorrow, Owando, the SEC, and the Nigerian Stock Exchange will be heading to the Lagos Federal High Court to present their case before the judge over the planned independent regulator forensic audit and technical suspension of shares of Owando. Yesterday, the Buhari's administration missed the deadline to submit the draft budget of 2018 to the National Assembly. Today is the 1st of November. That has now been missed. We're looking forward to the executive when the budget draft will be presented to the upper and lower houses. Then you have the Eurobond, $5.5 billion. Would we still be able to make this good for the fourth quarter, this global debt offering for Q4? Meantime, the ERGP, we're waiting for some further clarifications from the Udoma's ministry on the Economic and Recovery Growth Plan, even though it's been mentioned by the EFDB as a good plan by the Buhari's administration to fast-track business and economic recovery 2017-2020. Then you have the final monetary policy meeting on the 20th and 21st of this month, about 3 weeks to that as well from the central bank. So quite a lot there for the final 60 days of 2017. Meantime, what's this in news box this morning? Doing business, Nigeria moves 24 steps higher, and we are now one of the top 10 reforming economies in the world. That means Nigeria is now among the top 10 economies that are reforming on the speed that the World Bank believes that the Nigeria's ranking should be much better, and that was what we got yesterday. Meantime, the DG, the Director General of the Debt Office, and the Honorable Minister of State in charge of Environment met together to fast-track the launch and the listing of the Nigeria Green Bond before the end of the year. We don't have a date yet, but of course they met behind closed doors yesterday and tried to finalize that green bond that we're expecting to take place within the next 60 days. The Abuja airport is still under construction. The contractor says they are lacking power and water supply to complete this, even though they are positive that the deadline of February 2018 will still be met. And of course, the Honorable Minister of Transport, Mr. Rotimi Amici, says the government now inaugurating the National Transport Policy should be very quick and to get the country's transport sector up and running. We got a lot of guests who will be talking to some of these issues all through today. Let's kick off this discussion with Kyari Buka, who is the chairman of the Nigeria Economic Summit Group, a former managing director at CSCS Central Clearing Securities, and of course, a man on the streets. Good morning. It's good to have you here, sir.
Good morning, boss.
This is good news as far as the doing business is concerned.
It is. It's an exhilarating news as far as we're concerned.
Not just good.
It's fantastic. Remember that the president gave 20 spots up as target, and the country blew it.
To 24.
At 24. So that movement is significant, and I think it also shows that when there is a collaborative effort between the presidency, the National Assembly, indeed even the judiciary, we can get a lot of things going.
The Vice President referred to that severally in his 4-page statement yesterday. He kept saying thank you to the National Assembly for making this possible.
Exactly. And so
and the various parastatals, anyway.
So when you look at the formation of that PEBEC, the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, which was, and the seriousness of Nigerian government was by putting the vice president himself as chairman.
The PEBEC is just about a year old.
Exactly.
And they've achieved this much.
These are all the things that actually was catapulted us. When you look at the different indices in the report, ease of credit, or rather access to credit,
getting credit,
jumped from some insignificant number to 6th globally. Now that to me is a tremendous catapulting of our rating. And then the other one, which is actually even higher, was enforcement of contracts. Enforcement of contracts also went up by a tremendous amount in terms of the rating. So those two significantly contributed to the overall scores. But all the 8 areas that the National Action Plan looked at and pushed, we made progress in all.